Welcome to another episode of Battle Axe, coming to you, as always, from the Bustin' Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby Bradford. It is week number 5 of a 7-week regular season, and it all leads up to a double elimination postseason tournament where we will crown another Battle Axe champion. There's a lot of new rules this season. Before we get the competition started here in week number 5, let's go over the new rules. The rings are still worth 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 points. The middle bullseye is worth 6 points. But there you see those bullseyes in the middle of the 3 ring. Those are worth 6 points as well. And then there's an outer ring around that. That's worth 5 points. You can only score on the center bullseye one time in each half of the game. And after that, you have to try and get the other bullseyes if you want to get the 6 points. Otherwise, the center bullseye is worth 5 points. The kill shots are still worth 8 points, but a new wrinkle around those kill shots, there's a little area that's worth 6 points, and we've also added 2 kill shots down below. Those are worth 8 points as well. At any point during a match, a player can go for the kill shot. Let's take a look at what everyone is competing for. It's the Bustin' Axe Throwing Range Championship belt, Bobby.
Yeah, currently held by Eric the Scope Shizzle, and he's going to be putting that belt on the line here in a few weeks, Joe. We have that double elimination tournament coming up, and these players are getting primed and getting used to these boards, and I can definitely sense within the arena here, Joey, that a lot of these players want to take home that belt, and we know they have the capability of doing that.
Yeah, we get a look at this belt each and every episode, but I'm always in awe of just how incredible it is. Let's take a look at the standings. After 4 weeks of competition, it's Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw leading the way, 13-3 on the season, but the postseason bracket is set by your average score, and he's averaging more than 52 points per game.
Yeah, Matt's getting used to these new boards as well. As you can see, they're coming in at 13-3. We're used to seeing a 0 in that loss column, but Matt's been getting used to these boards because there's been a lot of stiff competition. As you can see behind him is Bob Yoakum, Beth Jen, Zach Hinkle, Leroy Kedley, Eric Shizzle, Devin Hillary, Michelle Fremelt, Ann Welp, and Jill Kedley rounds out the top 10.
That is a look at the leaderboard. Let's get the competition started right now here for week number 5. First up, we will have Ann Welp taking on Devin Hillary.
Yeah, so Devin coming in at 9-7, Ann at 1-15.
Right,
but don't let that record fool you. Ann is starting to get used to these boards as well. She's moving into that 4, 5, and 6 ring more consistently.
6,
and then for Devin,
nice
she's
throwing,
been stuck in
ladies.
that vortex, Joey, pretty much all season long. So especially in week 5, getting ready for that tournament, she's got to love seeing that bullseye to get the night started.
Yeah, Devin Hillary and Ann Welp out to a hot start here, both throwing a couple of bullseyes.
4-4.
They can no longer score 6 on that center bullseye for the rest of the first half of this one.
And it looks like Ann might have been going
haven't
for
seen
that
there yet.
upper right-hand side bullseye off the mark, but fortunately for her, that was a 4. And for Devin, that was a 4 as well.
So 10 all after the first couple of throws here.
4, 5.
And I think for Devin, she's just been making those strides to try to get in that 5 and 6 ring more consistently. She's not going to
All right,
venture out and
throw
try to get
number
those
4,
extra
Ann at 1.
bullseyes. She's going to just focus up on that middle of the board. And another nice throw there by Ann. Would have been a bullseye, but now it's a 5, but still takes a 1-point lead going into the 4th throw.
4, 4.
So we will see if Ann continues to work the center of the board. Couple
All
of
right, throw
4s
number
there
5,
from
Ann
Welp
up 1.
and Hillary, so it remains a 1-point advantage for Ann Welp after 4 throws.
Yeah, so after that bullseye attempt on her second throw, Ann decides to go
5,
back
4.
to the middle of the board, just focusing up. Another nice throw there by Devin. It looks like that's a
All right, at the
5,
turn, we are
and it is
tied up
ruled a
at
5, so she
23.
ties this thing all up
Touch them up, switch them up.
on the 5th throw going into the turn.
23 all. Hillary and
Lanes are
Welp
open. Throw
will
6.
switch sides. We'll get set for the second half. A nice start for both Hillary and Welp. We'll see if they can keep it going here in the second half.
Yeah, both players doing a really nice job of just
4,
staying in
4.
that center of the board. And as we talked about all the time, Joe, not all 4s are the same. And as you can see there with Ann on that
All right,
last
all
throw,
tied
that
up.
was a very
Throw
close
number
to being
7.
a 5. So she's definitely getting locked in week 5, getting ready for that double elimination week 8 tournament.
27 all. 4 throws to go.
But
2,
the axe
4.
getting away from Ann there a little bit.
Shake it off,
Devin
Ann.
able to take advantage of her mistake.
All right, throw
So
number
now
8.
Devin
up by
Hillary
2.
with a 2-point lead and 3 throws to go. We'll see how aggressive she gets. She's still got the center bullseye in place, so no reason
4,
not to
5.
go for that.
Yeah, and these are the kind of competitive throws, Joe. We're getting late in the season here.
All right,
We're
this
going to
is
see a
throw
lot of
number
these
9,
competitive
Devin up
throws
3,
over the next few
36-33.
weeks. Devin doing a nice job of increasing her lead, keeping that pedal to the metal, up 3. We'll see how Ann responds.
She could really use a bullseye
4.
here.
She could because Devin
All
was
right,
off
throw
the
number
mark with
10.
that 4
Devin
there,
is
but
up 4,
fortunately
40
for
to
Devin,
36.
Ann throws a 3, so she is able to increase her lead even after a mistake throw there.
So it doesn't look like we're going to have a kill shot attempt. And Welp going to go for the bullseye.
Nice. That would
But
be
Devin
a
Hillary pounds in the dagger.
5
We'll see if that's a bullseye for
and
Ann
6.
Welp or Devin Hillary.
Good job,
Looks like it
Devin.
was ruled a
Takes that
5
one,
there by
46,
Matt the Magic Man
41.
Bradshaw.
Devin Hillary putting an exclamation point on this one, wrapping up a victory with a bullseye. She gets the win 46-41.
Yeah, just a great performance here by Devin Hillary. She was able to tie this thing up on the 5th throw, and then she just put the pedal to the metal and really created some space between her and Ann. She had a nice bookend bullseyes there. You can see on her 1st and her 10th throw for a nice score of 46. She's starting to get out of that 4 ring, starting to find that 5 and 6 ring a little more consistently. Now it's just putting it all together for 10 throws. And then for Ann, she did have that devastating 2 on her 7th throw. She followed that up with a 3 on her 9th throw as well. But as you can see there, she's got a couple 5s. She did start off that game with the bullseye. So she's got some good throws in her. And again, it's just eliminating those mistakes. Fortunately for both competitors, Joey, they didn't have any drops. And we'd like to see that in week 5.
Yeah, Devin Hillary and Ann Welp looking ready for postseason play. Here's a guy always ready for the postseason, Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. He'll be taking on Zach Hinkle here in our next matchup.
Oh, and Zach's long had Matt the Magic Man in his sights, and he's always looking to take down Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. And we know Matt the Magic Man comes in
4-6.
playing hard, starts this thing off with a 6.
Couple of Titans in this league going head-to-head. Bradshaw 13-3 on the season. Hinkle 12-4. The Magic Man can no longer score 6 on the center bullseye. We'll see how he plays it here. Going to still go for the center of that board.
5-5.
Zach very close to getting a bullseye there, gets a closer look, and elects not to contest it. But Zach still has that bullseye on this lane. See if he can follow it up with another nice throw. Great throw there by Zach.
6-5.
And Matt with what would be a bullseye, Joey, but it is ruled a 5. So Zach able to make up a point, 15-16 going into the 4th throw.
So Hinkle can no longer score 6 on the center bullseye as well. We'll see how he plays it going forward.
Very close to being a 5 there for
4-5.
Zach, but that will be a 4.
Fifth throw,
And Matt
Matt
just
by
the
2.
model of consistency,
21-19.
just hammering that bullseye. Matt, I have noticed, Joey, over the season, he started off adventuring into those other bullseyes as well, but he kind of jumped ship from that strategy,
4,
to
5.
just focusing up on that middle of the board, electing to take those
All
5s
right, Matt
all
up
day.
by 3, 26-23.
Yeah,
Touch
you
him
know
up,
he
switch
can
him
hit
up.
those 5s
Let's go.
every throw
Lane's open.
almost every time.
Right.
And it's going to win you a lot of games.
Well, and Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw, he's in the World Tournament, so he's going to be going to Worlds here in April, and he's going to be playing by the old
4,
rules.
5.
So he's still going to be, when they play for Worlds, they're going to be
Braxton, 4,
focusing
6.
up on that 5 and 6 rings. So I think Matt, although he is competitive in this league, he wants to prepare himself for the World Championships and go in there with his exact strategy. So I think that's kind of why he pivoted a little bit, Joey.
5-5.
But as you can see, if this is how he's going to be throwing in Worlds, we might see a world champion, Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw.
And this kind of throwing could be enough to win this league as well. It'll just come down to if some other players can match him or, exceed him by going outside of that
4-5.
center bullseye and hitting some of those outside bullseyes.
Well, we've seen a couple competitors
Throw
too,
number
Joey,
9,
be adventurous. If the game is
42-36.
kind of dictating, if they're in a lead where they can kind of be adventurous and go for those other bullseyes. And it's just like the kill shot. If you can get comfortable with them, they're going to be a great thing to have in your back pocket come tournament time, because
4, 5.
we know the tournament, you get your back up against the wall, you have to have some really high pressure throws, and you have to have
47-40.
some ice in your veins to
Number
make them.
10.
So Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw closing in on another win here, up by 7. And that will put a bow on this one. Bradshaw gets the
4,
win
5.
52 to 44.
Matt takes
Yeah,
that
Matt
one.
with a tremendous game there.
Next
You can see
game.
he improves his
We'll do
record
Jill
to
and Bob.
14-3. You can see all those 5s on the board, Joey. Old rules, those would be a lot of 6s. So very close to being a perfect game there for Matt in the old rules. But as it stands, he comes away with the victory 52. So a really nice, I guess that's a new perfect game would be 52 with the 2 bullseyes there on the both lanes of the throw. But for Zach Hinkle, he falls to 12-5. He got stuck in that vortex from the fourth throw on. He did have that 1-5 in that seventh throw. But for him, he's been really aggressive going for that kill shot. I think he was just trying to look to stay in the middle of the board in this matchup against the Magic Man. But I always like to see him be aggressive, go for those kill shots, go for those outside bullseyes, because we know he's a very dangerous competitor, and he is definitely one of the contenders to bring home that championship belt.
We are just getting started here in week number 5. Much more Battle Axe still to come. We'll bring it to you straight ahead here on MC22. Welcome back to the Bustin' Axe throwing range here in week number 5 of Battle Axe. It's been an exciting start to week 5, and we've got a lot more action still to come. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby Bradford. Let's get right to our next matchup. Ann Welp will be taking on Michelle Frummelt.
Yeah, so we saw Ann fall to Devin Hillary in our first match of the night. And here we see Michelle Frummelt for the first time coming in at 2-14. She's been suffering from a lot of drops this season, Joey, so I think that's something that obviously she doesn't want to have in any matchup. She doesn't want to carry that over into the Week 8 Double Elimination Tournament. So we'll see how she fares tonight.
Correction.
That's something she struggled with early on last season, and then she really figured it out for the postseason and made a nice run. When she gets that axe to stick in there, she's a dangerous player because she can really consistently hit that 4, 5, and 6 ring.
You're absolutely right. We've seen her kind of struggle with wobbly axes from time to time, but if she can get that axe to stick in the wood, she's a very dangerous competitor as well. And we are all tied up here, 7-7 going into the third throw. Looks like a couple 4s there for both competitors.
So 11 all after 3 throws here between Michelle Frummelt and Ann Welp.
And you'll see Ann, she did a nice job of kind of finding that 5 and 6 ring in her first matchup. She did kind of fall off. She had some mistakes. So far, so good for her.
Well, another 4 for Frummelt and Welp. Frummelt didn't miss that 5 ring by much.
Yeah, another good miss there by Ann. And we'll see how both competitors fare. Looks like a 4. Could be a 5 if it's popping through for Michelle, but rule to 4.
All right, 19s apiece.
And we're all tied up going into the turn here, Joey.
So Frummelt and Welp will switch sides, and we will get set here for the second half.
Neither player has hit a bullseye yet. We'll see if they can change that on their last 5 throws, but a couple 4s there. Both players stuck in the vortex, Joey.
It's going to come down to who can get out of it here between Michelle Frummelt and Ann Welp.
But neither player has had what we dare not speak.
5.
A couple 5s there, so nice throws by both competitors to get out of the vortex, but we are all still tied, possibly, Joey. Some sudden death coming up.
Number 8.
Got a nail-biting finish here in store between Frummelt and Welp. 3 throws to go.
Ooh, and the axe getting away from Michelle there. So Ann able to take a 1-point lead going into the 9th throw. We were talking earlier, Joey, about highly competitive throws. We're going to get a couple of them here to end this matchup for sure.
Well, we talked about the drops for Michelle Frummelt, and it couldn't have come at a worse time here.
10,
on her 9th throw, a devastating drop, and Welp now has a 4-point lead heading into the final throw.
Yeah, so Michelle with an unfortunate drop there on her 9th
we got
throw.
39 to 35.
I would have liked to see her maybe aggressive go for that kill shot. You saw Ann hit a 4 there on her 10th throw. Would have sent this thing into sudden death overtime.
So Ann Welp getting the win here over Michelle Frummelt, 39 to 35. Both of these ladies were stuck in the vortex for much of this one, Bobby.
Absolutely, and Michelle will fall to 2-15, but she was definitely in this matchup. She had that devastating drop on her 9th throw, and I would have liked to have seen her be aggressive going for that kill shot on that 10th throw just to get used to it. You know, if you're going to lose the match, you want to go down swinging. But a nice job of Ann Welp, staying consistent in that 4 ring. She did get out of that vortex on that 7th throw. Did a nice job of coming away with the victor. She improves her record to 2-16.
Well, speaking of consistency, there is no one more consistent than the former champion, Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. He's averaging more than 52 points per game. We saw him put up another round of 52 here earlier today to get another win. Here's an interview with the Magic Man on his mindset this season.
I'm very close. I'm just making still minor adjustments here and there, but I think I'm really dialed in. I'm hoping, so I got to keep that same mindset, and hopefully it'll power me through. But as far as the rest of the league is concerned, everybody's really throwing very well. So I'm very pleased to see that the progress these folks are making. So let's see how this rolls into the tournament.
Matt the Magic Man looking poised to make another run at that championship belt.
Yeah, it should be scary for the entire league if Matt's getting used to these boards and kind of figuring it all out.
Next matchup, we've got a couple of former champions going head-to-head. It's Bradshaw taking on the defending champion, Eric the Scope Shizzle.
Yeah, the title is not on the line here, but these are two titans of the industry. Eric coming in at 9-7, Matt at 14-3. We'll see how they get the night started. Looks like a 5 there for the Magic Man, and the Scope is off the mark.
This should be a really fun one to watch, not just because of the quality of these competitors, but also their strategy. The Magic Man we saw earlier, he's just peppering the middle of that board. The Scope has been a little more aggressive throughout the season, going for those outside bullseyes.
Yeah, I'd say more so than any competitor in the league, Joey. Eric has been adventurous going for those outside bullseyes. We've seen him on occasion have a chance at a unicorn, which in this league has been even more rare than in leagues past. But Matt with a nice bullseye there on his second throw. Takes a 2-point lead going into the third. But for Eric, it's all about getting that first bullseye off the board, Joey. And as you can see, he is just not getting that job done. A devastating 3 on the third throw.
Yeah, you can't go for the outside bullseyes
4,
until you hit
Matt
that
by
center
4.
one, really. And,
Right.
and you can't be making mistakes like this when you're going up against the Magic Man.
I mean, you can go for the outside bullseyes if you want, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You kind of want to focus up on that middle of the board there and then get adventurous. And as you can see, Eric gets off the schneid with a 6 on his fourth throw.
So down by 3, we'll see if the Scope gets aggressive here, going for those outside bullseyes.
And as we've talked about in leagues past, Joey, 3s and 4s are devastating versus a competitor like Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. But with these new rules, it does leave the door open for you to come back. All of a sudden, that 3, it's not as insurmountable as it was in leagues past. And so we'll see Joe getting a closer look. As you can see, that's off the mark. It looks like a 3, possibly a 4. But rule of 3 there for Eric the Scope. And the Magic Man has a commanding 5-point lead going into the turn.
Those are high-risk, high-reward shots when you go for those outside bullseyes. Eric the Scope stuck with a 3 there, and the Magic Man will take a 5-point lead into the second half.
Well, we know Eric's very familiar with the kill shots as well, so that's definitely in play. And Matt takes care of that bullseye right away with that 6th throw, so a 26-32 lead here for the Magic Man. Eric's got some work to do.
He could really use the center bullseye right here.
Absolutely, just so he can start kind of chipping into that lead. Looks like he might have it there.
5-6.
So he did get the center bullseye, able to pick up a point on Bradshaw. 5-point game now, 3 throws to go. And you would imagine the Scope will go for the outside bullseyes here.
Looks like Eric is just going to try to get as many points on Matt as he can until that 9th throw. Another nice throw.
5-5.
I don't know if he can really trade points with Matt here right now. I kind of would like to have seen him go for that outside
Throw
bullseye
number
there on that
9.
8th throw. Try to get
Matt
at least
still
a
by
point on him
5.
before he starts going for the kill shot, which we just saw him
Kill
call
shot
for.
called on right.
But it is a 5-point game.
No indication the Magic Man's going to go for the kill shot here. So the window is open here for Eric the Scope if he can hit this kill shot.
We'll see. He's very close to that 6 ring. I don't think he hit the bullseye or the kill
both.
shot there, Joey.
Might have picked up a point on Bradshaw,
6.
though. He did. He gets
Yep.
the 6.
All right, 6
So
and
that'll make
5.
it a 4-point lead for Bradshaw with 1 throw coming. No reason why you wouldn't expect the Scope to go up again, and indeed he will. He's going for the kill shot here.
Got to hope that Matt throws a 4, which he does not oblige. It's another 5 there for the Magic Man, but Eric would like this for his confidence, and he has to go down to that lower
5
right-hand
and a
one.
miss.
As you saw his indicator, thumbs down. That's a 0.
Well, another perfect round for Bradshaw.
Right.
52 to 43.
52-43.
he is really locked in right now.
Absolutely. If and Matt talked about it in his interview, he's kind of getting that board figured out. He's kind of figuring out his strategy. You can see he took care of both bullseyes on each lane, and then it was nothing but 5. So he is definitely locked in. And as we know, that Matt the Magic Man is a very, very scary competitor. So he comes away with the victory, 52-43. And then for Eric, it just took him a little while to get to find that bullseye. But once he did, he got off. He found 2 more bullseyes after that. A lot of 5s here. A couple devastating 3s, but that's because he was being aggressive going for those outside bullseyes. And a nice score of 43, even with that kill shot attempt on the 10th throw that missed. So Eric falls to 9-8, but he's a champion.
And he'll get right back out there and go for another win when we come back. Stay tuned for more Battle Axe here on MC22. Welcome back to Battle Axe, coming to you as always from the Bustin' Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby the Blade Bradford. It is week number 5 of a 7-week regular season before we get to the double elimination postseason tournament where we will crown a Battle Axe champion. Eric the Scope Shizzle is the defending Battle Axe champion. You saw him come up just a little short a moment ago against Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw, but the nice thing about Battle Axe, you can dust yourself off, get right back out there again. Eric the Scope will be taking on Zach Hinkle.
Yeah, so Zach Hinkle and Eric the Scope have fallen to Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw tonight. So we'll see who comes out the victor in this matchup. Eric at 9-8 and Zach at 12-5. Looks like a nice bullseye there for Eric the Scope.
4.
And a 4 there for Zach Hinkle. Jill's going to get a closer look.
Oh, yeah.
It looks clear from the action cam, Joey, that was a 4.
And this is exactly how the Scope wants to start.
Right.
Now he can go for those outside bullseyes, and he has a 2-point lead, so a little wiggle room to play with.
No, but electing to play the middle of that board, so
5-4.
possibly a change in strategy from Eric the Scope as we get closer and closer to that Week 8 double elimination tournament. Elects to play that middle of the board, gets a 5. And maybe it's kind of playing your opponent. He sees that Zach kind of came out the gate a little cold, so there's no real reason to be the aggressor and leave that door open for him. As you can see, Zach's stuck in the vortex to get the night started.
This is throw number 4. Eric,
Yeah, we just saw the Magic Man have another perfect round, and perhaps the Scope witnessed that and
Correct.
said, I want to see if I can do that as well and hang with him when we get to the postseason.
Well, it's all about strategy, Joey. So if that's one of the top throwers in the league,
4-5.
they've figured out that strategy. You kind of want to mimic it a little bit so you can keep up and play with them.
This is number 5.
Eric off the mark there, so a 4 there for him, and Zach
Eric
is able
by
to get a
3.
point with a nice 5.
Hinkle's still looking for his first bullseye of the match. He'll have to try to get it on the second half of this one. Looks like that's a 4, might be a 5. The top of that blade is
6-5.
popping through.
Oh, 4.
And then, of course, Eric just
6-4.
sensing a comeback by Zach, he decides to pop out and get that
So we
bullseye
gotta
on the
go
upper left-hand side. So another nice bullseye there for the Scope, able to get 2 points back
Got it.
before the
That
turn.
didn't work.
So Eric the Scope
Throw
will
number
take a
6.
5-point lead
Eric by
into
5.
the second half against Zach Hinkle.
So then everything resets. Zach unable to hit the
Mm-hmm.
bullseye there on his first 5 throws. Hopefully a change of lane will help him. And then for the Scope, he's going to refocus up on the middle of that board.
5-5.
And a couple 5s there, but very close to being a bullseye there for the Scope.
Yeah, he's really dialed in. He didn't have his best stuff in his previous matchup just moments
Yeah.
ago
Number
against the
7.
Magic Man, but he's really elevating his game right now.
Well, and that was his first match of the night. As we saw earlier, Matt the Magic Man took on Zach Hinkle, so he had a couple
4-4.
throws. We can give Eric a pass for that. But a couple 4s there. Eric happy to trade points. No need to get
Number
adventurous. He's
8.
going to stick to that middle of that
Eric
board. He's
still
going to
by
force Zach's
5.
hand here. He's got to hit that middle of the bullseye because he's got some points to make up.
Zach Hinkle focusing in here, trying to get a
There.
bullseye, and it looks like he delivered
Hold.
when he needed it most.
Well, the theme of the night, Joe, is high pressure
6-6.
throws. Zach coming through with a clutch bullseye there, but Eric right behind him with another bullseye as well. We
Nice
know how
throws, guys.
demoralizing that
So
can
this is
be
number
when you
9.
make your best throw of the night, and then your opponent does the same thing.
Eric's
But
still by
Zach
5.
is down by 5. kill shots
shot
are
called on
possible.
left.
And I believe he did just call for the kill shot there, so love the aggressive call. And then for the scope, he's going to play the middle of that board. See how close Zach can get, but he is off the mark, and I take it back.
Or, wait, I'm sorry.
Eric the
you didn't
scope
call
went
it.
and played that upper right-hand side bullseye, but I think he's off the mark. Could be a 5
Touch
if
of the
that
5.
blade's popping through on the right-hand side,
All right,
and
so
it is
upper
ruled a
right,
5.
5.
So a devastating blow there for Zach Hinkle, and you can see, might as well go for that extra kill shot, right?
All right.
Yeah,
kill
this
shot
one
called
now
on
out of reach for
All right.
Zach Hinkle. Eric the Scope going to get the win. We'll see
number 10.
how they wrap things up here on throw number 10.
I believe Eric called for the kill shot as well. You can kind of see him setting up. And Zach closer to the mark, maybe a 6 if it's popping through on that left-hand side of the blade.
Ooh, that
And then
looks
for the
good.
scope, that looks like it could be at
On my
least a
way.
6 there. If the bottom part of that blade's
Miss
popping
an
through,
8.
and it's ruled a hit and a miss there for Zach Hinkle.
Well, what a round here for Eric the Scope Shizzle.
Nice attempt,
54 to get the win over Zach Hinkle.
Well, I'm sure that's the round that Eric the Scope was looking for when he was going up against Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. As you saw there, after that first throw, he came out of the gate really hot in this one. And for Eric's strategy, that's really what he needs to do. He needs to hit that bullseye right away so he can venture off into those other bullseyes and really put pressure on his opponent. So he did a great job. He hit that upper left-hand side bullseye on that 5th throw. He had another bullseye there on his 8th throw, and then just a great kill shot there on the 10th throw for a really impressive round of 54 to improve his record to 10-8. But I love the aggressive call of Zach Hinkle. He did a great job of going for that kill shot, trying to really put some pressure on Eric the Scope. And he falls to 12-6, but we know he's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, there's been a learning curve for even the most experienced throwers here this season with all the new rules. Here's Zach Hinkle on his progress this season.
I was right around that center, but I just need to hit it over a little more consistency, just like get closing in. I'm about right here. I hit that every time. I just need to close in just that little bit to that center mark.
Zach Hinkle looking to do what everyone's looking to do, just
Right.
really hone in on the center of that board and consistently be in that 5 and 6 ring heading into the postseason.
Absolutely. We talk about it all the time, Joey. You know, that progression from that 4 ring to the 5 and the 6 is what makes you an elite thrower.
Well, next up, we've got a matchup with Leroy the Lumberjack Kedley. Here's Kedley on his experiences playing the new boards.
It's all about strategy, and it's like not only what you're doing, but what your opponent's doing. And it's like how, I mean, I figured if I get a good enough lead, I might venture out. But for the most part, I think I stay in the middle. And I don't know, it's just like comfort. I mean, I rather, you know, going outside my comfort zone. I'd rather hit a 5 instead of a 3. You know, going for the other bullseyes or you know the other points. So I don't know. I just comfortable with the middle. So that's where I'm sticking.
The middle of that board, a nice warm blankie for Leroy Kedley.
I think we find that for a lot of these throwers, it's just a comfort factor. They've gotten used to hitting that middle of the board, and they just haven't developed the throw enough to be adventurous and go for those outside bullseyes quite yet.
Leroy the Lumberjack will be taking on Bullseye Bob Yoakum. This should be a good one.
Lanes are
Well,
open.
Bullseye Bob Yoakum, I'd like to credit him. I think when some of the top throwers in this league started this particular league, Joey, they were getting adventurous
6'4"?
going out for those outside bullseyes. But Bullseye Bob, he's stuck to that middle of the board, and as you can see with a 15-1 record, it's definitely worked out for him. So I think a lot of players have saw what Bob was doing and kind of adapted it for themselves.
Bob Yoakum, a pioneer here in this new season. With all these new rules, he has been
3, all tied
thriving.
up.
15-1, Leroy Kedley 8-8. But Kedley throws the bullseye right there to even things up.
You can see Bob shaking his head.
3,
Devastating
4.
3 there, but it's only ruled a
Leroy,
4.
no, you're fine. You can cross.
Only ruled a 4 there. Could be a 5 if it's popping through. You can see Leroy dancing around. He's feeling it,
4.
but it's ruled a 4, so Bob falls behind 14-13. Leroy with a nice lead going into the 4th throw.
3 and 4. Yep. Throw
But
number
Leroy's
4.
done a tremendous job, Joey, of elevating his game. He's really progressed. We don't see a lot of drops out of him.
5-4.
We saw a lot of that in this first season. In the beginning of this season, but he's starting to really move into that 5 and 6 ring, especially moving into that not all 4s are the same. You know, he's moving into that 4s are very close to being 5s. Another nice thriller by Bob.
So Bob Yoakum will take a 1-point lead
right,
into
at
the
the turn,
second
Bob
half,
is up one,
23-22
23-22.
over Leroy Kedley. Both of these guys just
number
looking
6,
to
lanes
really
are open.
pepper that middle of the board. We'll see who can do it more consistently here in the second half to get the win.
Yeah, Bob doing a tremendous job of capitalizing
4.
on Leroy's mistakes, but Leroy says, I got a new bullseye. I'm going to hit it. And that's exactly
All
what
right,
he
Wild
did.
Things
So
up
he's
by
able to
1.
regain the lead in this
Throw
one,
number
27-28. We'll see. Just probably play the middle of that board, try to get some 5s, but he's
4,
holds on to
5.
the axis a little bit too long. Bob's going to get a closer look. I believe that was ruled a 5 there. But Bob is honest, so he's going to call Matt in.
Rolled right over the top of it.
And Matt gets a closer look and deems that it was exactly a 5. So we're all tied up going into the 8th throw here, Joey.
32 all. Just 3 throws to go here between Yoakum and Kedley.
Nice bullseye there by
All right,
Bullseye
looks like,
Bob, and looks like
you guys can cross it.
Leroy's going to have that axe popping through on the right-hand side for it to be a 5. Otherwise, that's going to be a 4, and that's what it is.
All right, this is throw number
So that
9.
gives Bob
is up
Yoakum a
2,
2-point
38-36.
advantage with just 2 throws to go.
And what else is new? We got some high-pressure throws coming up with 2 throws left, Joey. And it looks like Leroy might be able to get a point here on Bullseye Bob. We'll see. Ooh, that top part of the blade could be popping through.
5-5.
And it is.
All right,
A
here we are,
very
gentlemen. Throw
favorable
number 10. Bob,
throw
you're up
there
2,
for Bob Yoakum, just getting the
43-21.
5 to keep his 2-point lead. We'll see if Kedley gets aggressive here.
I'd like to see Kedley get aggressive and go for that outside bullseye. You know, though Bob just threw a 5 there, and they're going to elect to play the middle of the
5-5.
board. You know, Bob's throwing some
Bob
4s here
takes
in this
that one,
matchup, so it's definitely in the possibility, but
48-46.
they elect to play the middle of the board. But what a tremendous matchup.
Bullseye Bob Yoakum gets the win, 48-46. He improves to 16-1 on the season.
Yeah, Bob with a nice bullseye there to start the match, and you can see another one there on his 8th throw. But consistently playing the middle of the board, he did have that 3 on his 3rd throw. You saw him shaking his head because he knew he just held on to that axe just a little bit too long. But his strategy that he's had all throughout this season has really been beneficial for him. He improves his record to 16-1. He's a very dangerous competitor in a nice score of 48. But for Leroy Kedley, this is the kind of matchup, Joey, where you know you can play with the big guys. And he falls to 8-9, but he found those bullseyes on his 2nd and 6th throw and then ended with a couple of nice 5s. I just like to see him get a little more aggressive with those kill shots and outside bullseyes.
We've still got a couple matches to go here in week number 5. We'll bring them to you straight ahead here on MC22. Stay tuned for more Battle Axe. Welcome back to Battle Axe here, as always, at the Bustin' Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque. I'm Joey Danya, alongside Bobby Bradford. It's week 5 of a 7-week regular season. It's been an exciting week thus far, and we've still got a couple matches to go. Devin Hillary has been elevating her game ever since joining the league. Here's an interview with Devin on throwing against some tough competition here in this league.
Yeah, it's been cool to play against people like Bob and Matt and Eric that are really good because I'm naturally competitive, so I would love to beat them. I know that's not going to happen, but I mean, it's fun to have that competition. I feel like every time I throw against them, I throw a little better. So
Yeah, when you throw against the kind of competitors you have in this league, it's going to elevate your game as well because you're going up against some of the best.
Absolutely, and Bob has definitely elevated his game to become one of the better throwers in this league. And Devin always putting a challenge in front of her. Let's see if she can overcome it and come away with a victory.
Let's go, guys.
Bullseye Bob looking to close out week number 5 with a win over Devin Hillary.
Well, to Devin's point in her interview, Joey, you know, there's only one way to get better. You know, practice can only take you so far, but we know that these really high pressure
All right, so
throws,
you both
stiff
got 4,
competition
so 4,
is really
4.
kind of what molds a player into
Rookie
elite
here.
fashion.
So a couple of 4s to start this one for Hillary and Bob Yoakum.
So Bob with, it looks like another 4 there, and the
4,
little
4.
release too early there for Devin Hillary, so that's another 4, but no ground game, no ground lost.
And if you're Devin Hillary, you're happy to be tied here, but you know sooner than later Bullseye Bob is going to live up to his namesake, so Devin could really
4,
use a
5.
bullseye sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and Bob able to get a point on her. But still no bullseyes yet by either competitor.
Throw number 4.
So Bob Yoakum with a 1-point lead after 3 throws. See if Yoakum or Hillary can hit that bullseye here.
We'll see if that blade's popping through on the
4
left-hand
or
side there
5.
for Bob, and it ruled that it is. So Devin, as we've seen for most of
Number
the season, Joey's
5,
stuck in that
Bob by
vortex,
2.
just kind of trying to find her release point. It looks like she's kind of all over the place with the release point. She hasn't really suffered from any drops per se, but she just hasn't honed in that
4 or
5 and 6
5.
ring release point yet.
All 4s in the first half for Devin Hillary.
Nice.
Bob
Switch 'em
Yoakum
up.
will take a 3-point lead into the second half.
But for Devin, although she's stuck in the vortex, Bob has not thrown a bullseye yet, so still very much in this game is Devin Hillary. And Bob off the mark again. This would be a great time for Devin to hit a bullseye. But it
gotta
looks
see
like
that
that's a
one. So
4.
Bob 4.
And it could be
4.
popping through on the bottom part of that blade, but it ruled a 4 there for Devin Hillary. Epically stuck in the vortex.
It will remain a 3-point lead here for bullseye Bob Yoakum.
Looks like that's a 4 there for Bob, possibly a 5 if it's popping through.
Coming up. So
And it looks like that could be
4 and
ruled a 4 there for
It's touching,
Bob on
it's a
that
5.
side, but it then ruled a 5 there for Devin Hillary. So able to get a point on bullseye Bob.
Bob Yoakum has been unable to put this one away. Devin Hillary right in it, only down by 2.
And it looks like she's going to get at
4
least another
and
point on him.
5.
Another 4 there for Bob Yoakum. So he himself is getting stuck in the vortex. We got a 1-point game going into the 9th throw, Joey.
This
Well,
is
it
throw
only
number
seems fitting that
9.
we get
Bob
some
by
high
1.
pressure throws here once again as we wrap up week number 5.
Oh, and Devin's
5,
off the
4.
mark. Bob with a 5 there. So she falls down to 38-40, but still, she's got it. She
Number
got that bullseye,
10,
Joey.
Bob
She
by
can still
2.
hit. So Bob's throwing a number of 4s in this game. So here's a high pressure throw. Bob threw his 4. Ah,
4.
you can see she's off the mark and disappointing loss there for Devin
44,
Hillary. But she was in this thing to the
42.
last throw, Joey.
She
Nice
put up a
game,
great
guys.
fight. It's bullseye Bob getting another win, 44-42. Bob Yoakum now 17-1.
Yeah, so for Devin Hillary, it's very similar to like Eric the Scope. It all depends on how she gets started with this match. And as you can see, through her first 6 throws, it was all 4s. So luckily for her, Bob was kind of joining her, so there wasn't really an insurmountable lead. But she was able to find her 5th throw on her 7th and 8th throw. Unfortunately for her, she could have tied this thing up with a bullseye there on her 10th throw. Bob did his part and threw a 4, but Devin was off the mark, wide right, and she falls to 10-8 with a score of 42. But we know that she's kind of honing in on that 5 ring. She's just got to find that right release point, and we know that she can make a pretty serious run in the Week 8 tournament.
We are not done yet here in week number 5. Our final matchup, Leroy the Lumberjack Kedley against Jill Kedley. It'll be a Kedley versus Kedley matchup.
We have a Kedley event here. I'd love to see the husband and wife matchup. It's always fun, Joey. We've had a number of them here in our Battle Axe tenure. There's always a little something extra on the table when husband and wife go up against each other.
And it looks like Jill gets the early lead here with a bullseye.
Yeah, so Jill taking care of that bullseye right away. With a nice throw there. We'll see if she can follow it up with another 5 or if she elects to go for one of those bullseyes.
4, 5.
Plays the middle of the board there, but still picks
You
up a
ready,
point there
Kedley?
on
Yeah.
Leroy Kedley.
I'm using that one.
Well, a big smile on the
Oh,
face
no.
of Jill Kedley as she builds a 3-point advantage over Leroy the Lumberjack.
Yeah, Leroy trying to focus up. He's off the mark again there with a 4. And Jill coming out
5,
the
4.
gates hot, Joey.
I think she really wanted this one. She's out to a 4-point lead here, and both Leroy and Jill are laughing it off here.
Well, they're laughing it off, but they know what's at stake. And Jill's coming out the gate determined to come away with a victory here. Another devastating miss there for
3-4.
Leroy. And Jill's able to
There
get
we go,
another
there we
point on him going into the
go.
5th throw. We're at
Throw number
20-15.
5, Jill, you are up by 5. 15-20.
You'd imagine when you're going up against your spouse, there's just a whole different element in play, and perhaps that's getting the best of Leroy the Lumberjack right now.
Oh, there Leroy found his
5-3.
throw, and Jill with a devastating 3.
Switch
We know the pressure
sides,
works
Jill by
both ways,
3.
Joey. So we have a 3-point game going into the turn. Jill with the only bullseye on the card. Let's see if she can take care of it on the other side. And of course, there's always fun. There's always jawing back and forth. Both competitors know what's at stake. It's much more than a victory, Joey. There's bragging rights.
6-3.
Well, Leroy the Lumberjack is making a big-time
right,
run
tie
now,
game.
just like that.
We
We're all
are
tied up
on
at 26.
throw number
First
7.
bullseye for the
Lot of game,
Lumberjack.
lot of
Yeah,
game
Leroy
left.
moving in the right direction in his last 2 throws. Able to find that bullseye. Jill was off the mark, kind of stuck in that 3 ring a little bit.
4,
And
5.
unfortunately for her, Leroy's finding his stroke. Able to get another point on her for a 31-30 lead going into the 8th throw. Plenty of time left here for Jill, though.
3 throws to go here between Jill Kedley and Leroy Kedley.
Leroy with another nice throw, and Jill let go of the axe too soon. She's got to hope that that's a 3 there on the bottom part of the blade, and it is ruled a 3.
Leroy Kedley is dialed in right now. He has a
Throw
3-point lead,
number
which is
9,
2 throws to go.
33-36.
I'd like to see Jill be aggressive and go for the kill shot, but I don't know if it's the time right now.
4,
She
4.
elects to play the board. Kind of wanted
Alrighty,
to
we're on number
wait
10,
to
down
see how
by
Leroy
3.
threw a little bit before making a decision, but
37-40.
she is down by 3. Is she going to call for the kill shot? And she did. She just called
Yup,
for the kill shot.
called. Jill on
And
the
it
right.
doesn't look like Leroy's going to go up with her. So the door is open here if Jill Kedley can hit this kill shot.
Yeah, Leroy threw at least a 4, possibly a 5, and
5,
Jill
yes.
hit it.
Wow,
Let me hold
ice
on.
in her
I'll give you a good
veins.
read on that one.
And depending on what this is ruled for Leroy
Oh,
Kedley,
we got all 8, huh?
we might be going to sudden death.
5.
Looks like
All
Eric
eight,
made the
there we
call
go.
as a 5 there for Leroy Kedley. So it took us a while, Joey, but we got some sudden
don't
death
know. Hold on,
overtime
let me check.
here in the Battle Axe
45,
Arena.
45.
What a way to wrap things up
go.
here in
Back
week
up.
number 5. Leroy Kedley and Jill Kedley going to sudden death. They'll go for the kill shot here. And if somebody hits it and the other person doesn't, that's it. If not, it's who's ever closer.
Jill off the mark, going for that same kill shot. Off the mark, wide. We'll see. And Leroy, high pressure
takes it,
throw
yeah,
and
on the
comes
left.
through in the clutch.
Well, what a finish here between Leroy
45.
Kedley and Jill Kedley. It's Leroy the Lumberjack
Good, guys.
getting the win in sudden death. They have a little hug and a smooch.
Absolutely. So Leroy coming out the victor here, but just a tremendous game here by Jill Kedley. As you can see from those first 3 throws, Joey, she started off with a nice bullseye, followed it up with a couple of 5s. Unfortunately for her, she kind of left the door open for Leroy. We talk about that all the time with competitors. You want to keep your foot on the pedal, keep putting pressure on your opponent. Unfortunately for her, she allowed Leroy to come back in, but kudos to her, though. She was really aggressive going for that kill shot on that 10th throw. She hit it. She was off the mark in sudden death, but it's nice to know that she has that kill shot in her back pocket, and it's good for her confidence. Leroy improves his record to 9-9. As you can see, a slow start there, but he really turned it on from that 5th throw on and that really high-pressure kill shot to improve his record.
That will do it for week number 5 here on Battle Axe. All of these competitors looking primed for the postseason. Time now for our post-game wrap-up. Here is a look at the standings after 5 weeks of competition. Matt Bradshaw leading the way, 17-3 on the season, averaging nearly 52 points per game.
Yeah, his average dips a little bit here tonight, but fortunately for him, he is still in the first place. And as you can see right behind him, Beth Jen is able to overtake Bob Yoakum. So 967 points there for Beth Jen with a record of 11-9, followed by Bob Yoakum, Zach Hinkle, Leroy Kedley, Eric Shizzle, Devin Hillary, Michelle Fremelt, Ann Welp, and Jill Kedley.
That'll do it for week 5. We'll see you here again next time on Battle Axe. For Bobby the Blade and the entire MC22 crew, I'm Joey Danya. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for more Battle Axe.